Holy crap, okay, so we knew that the Model 3 performance refresh was coming, right? We'd all seen the leaked pictures and stuff, and of course we expected it to be a pretty massive refresh with a lot of great new specifications, but right off the bat, I just need to applaud Tesla and let everybody know the price was way better than we initially thought, okay? Like, I was thinking it would just be a little bit below 55K, and a lot of people were disagreeing with me, but it turns out, no, before the federal tax credit, it's $53,000, and oh yeah, by the way, this is the only Model 3 to qualify for the federal tax credit, which means they are putting the same 2170 cells in the Model 3 Performance that they're putting in the Model Y. That way, point of sale, assuming you're not super rich, you get to deduct $7,500 off the price of the Model 3 Performance at delivery, which yes, actually means the Model 3 Performance is cheaper than the Model 3 Long Range. Yeah, it's kind of nuts if you think about it that way, but there's a ton of new performance enhancements as well. The headlining new feature is the Model 3 is finally doing 0 to 60 times in under 3 seconds, clocking in a 2.9 second 0 to 60 time. Of course, incredibly impressive, very good specs for a car of this price range. After the federal tax credit, this is a $45,000 car with just incredible performance specifications and design enhancements as well. We have more air intakes on the front, of course the new streamlined headlight and taillight design with an awesome new spoiler, and I think for the first time on the Model 3 we have adaptive damping on the suspension, so that of course is going to be massively improved compared to the last Model 3 Performance. The range on the new EPA test cycle with a performance-oriented vehicle of course is not great, so it's not the most efficient Model 3 out there, clocking in just about 300 miles, but you're not buying this thing to get the best mileage, you're buying this thing because you want that performance emphasis. And of course they have this newly updated redesigned seat that has a bit tighter bolstering, so it should be a little bit more snug for those tight turns. They've said they've improved the chassis hardware, so it's a bit more rigid and it should feel a lot more stiff than before, which is excellent. And they've improved the drive unit, so the motors on the Model 3 Performance have changed. Unlike the same old motors that they put in the rear-wheel drive and long-range Model 3s, those were the same as before. Performance gets a whole new drivetrain, which enables over 500 horsepower with 32% more peak power, over 20% more continuous power, and 16% more peak torque than the previous Model 3 Performance. They also come with these incredible new 20-inch tires, which I think look marvelous. And even though this doesn't have the insane range that the long-range Model 3 is rocking, it still is technically more energy efficient than the previous generation Model 3. So keep in mind that older Model 3 Performance probably doesn't get the same EPA test cycle redo that these Model 3s are getting, so in the real world this Model 3 Performance should get better range because it's more aerodynamic, it's more efficient, both at the powertrain level and at the coefficient of drag level. They're saying the exterior design has 5% reduced drag as well as 36% lift reduction, which is quite noticeable, and a massive 55% improvement in front to rear lift balance. All of these things in Tesla didn't stop there. It appears they've improved track mode with the new Performance Model 3, giving you more control over the motor cooling. They built in more independent motor controls and suspension controls to track mode, which should make it really exciting. And again, it's crazy to think about all of these performance enhancements and all of these great new specs being available on a $45,000 sedan. That is just nuts. I wish they could bring the federal tax credit to all the other Model 3s, but I'm guessing that there's just not enough 2170 cells to go around. But I'm grateful that at least the Performance Model 3 got access to US-made cells so that they can deduct $7,500 off the price of the car. But keep in mind, in order to qualify for the federal tax credit, the price has to stay below $55,000. That's the cap for a sedan. So if you spec it with ultra red and a white interior, now you've pushed it over. Now that's going to be a $56,000 vehicle. So if you want to keep the Model 3 Performance sub 50 grand, you're probably going to want to go a little easy on the additional trim options. Maybe go with a different color or stick with the black interior. Me personally, I really want to try out those seats because I'm personally a fan of a seat that hugs me a little bit tighter, and even though I'm not a huge performance guy, I just love the look of the Model 3 Performance. The tires, the spoiler, the more aggressive feel, and the adaptive suspension looks nice. They also updated the dashboard. It doesn't have that little fabric cross beam above the vents. It seems to have, I don't know what that is, maybe a little bit more carbon fiber-esque looking design. design. Even though I'm not a performance guy, I genuinely want to sit in one of these. I want to try one out, and 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds for a vehicle like this is just insane. The top speed is over 160 miles per hour, much faster than I would ever need to go, but again, this thing is going to be a lot of fun on the track. I just gotta say, hats off and major applause go to the Tesla engineering team. I just can't wait for people to actually get their hands on these. I will definitely try to drive one as soon as I possibly can. If I were speccing one out, I would probably just stick with the black interior. Even though I'm a huge fan of the white interior, that ultra red I've seen in person, and it's just really hard not to pass that up. I'm a big fan of the red, and with the new ventilated seats and updated interior, I could probably just live with the black and just mess around with the ambient lighting. Let that be the little color accent for the interior. There's not much on my wish list for this car, but if there was something I could request, it would probably be a darker headliner. Tesla still wants to have that same basic white headliner on the interior, which is probably fine, and I would be okay with that. With the white interior, I would prefer the lighter headliner, but if you're gonna go with the black interior, it would be way cooler to have the headliner match along with it. That would just give it a lot more dark, stealthy feel, and production should probably be in full swing, because at least right now on Tesla's site, it's saying if you order one today, you'll probably take delivery within the next couple of months. So congratulations to those of you who can afford it. I sadly cannot, and this is really making me question whether or not I want to be the efficiency guy. Like, is there a way I could try out those seats and maybe spec it with some 18-inch aero wheels? I don't know, just love this thing, and it's getting the gears turning in my head. It's dangerous. But what do you guys think of the new Model 3 Performance now with ludicrous mode and ludicrous badging on the back? Yeah, they ended up not calling it the ludicrous, as some of us may have thought. But Model 3 Performance is a classic name, and now the car is really living up, and I think it's never been a more separated and had more advantages than it does now compared to the other Model 3s. Great job, Tesla, and thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos, so thanks again. Have an excellent rest of your day.